Kara from Health, Home, and Happiness, and today I want to talk about attachment theory and what I've learned about how attachment theory facilitates easy parenting. I'll link to it right above, and I'll also put some of his videos at the end of this one. Gordon Neufield's work has been absolutely amazing for me, and I wanted to point you guys all in his direction. If 3-2-1 magic isn't working for you, or if love and logic isn't working for you, you may be missing the whole attachment part. There's all sorts of things that can disrupt attachment in children. Some children just, because of illness or because of developmental issues, don't attach to their parents as easily as others. And sometimes it's external forces, like mom was sick after delivery or there was violence in the home. All of those things can create attachment problems in children, and it's something that if you just try to logic your way out of it, these kids aren't going to be able to do it. So that's where Gordon Neufield's work comes in, is he focuses on the attachment part. So if those logic-based parenting programs aren't working for you, I'd encourage you to go back and look at the attachment theory-based parenting. Really, Gordon Neufeld is the best that I've seen. Thankfully, he has tons of talks online. I'll link, right now I'll link up above to a blog post that I wrote about his book called Hold On to Your Kids, Why Parents Matter More Than Peers. And in Hold On to Your Kids, his premise is that our kids need to be learning from us, and when we separate them from us and we put them into age-segregated classrooms, we put them into early preschool, we put them into early daycare, if they haven't formed attachments securely yet, then they are going to kind of imprint, like baby ducklings, onto their peers. And so then it's sort of the blind leading the blind. It's and it's really not working for our kids. And so a lot of parenting methods just say, oh, well, just keep being consistent, keep holding out, keep showing them that it's never going to work for them. And these kids just don't care. They're getting to high school and they're not caring. They're not doing their work. They're not going on a career path. They're not progressing. And then people just keep saying, oh, well, eventually they'll figure it out. Well, we don't want our kids to figure it out when they're thrown in jail. Or we don't want them to figure it out when they're evicted from their first apartment for failure to pay bills. We want them to figure out while they're young and they're still small and they still think that we know everything. And so that's sort of something that I've had to do, and I wanted to talk to you guys about this, not because I'm a professional at all, I'm just a mom, but because I think that if you're following my blog and you're following me, probably the same stuff that works for me might be something that you're looking for. And so I also really like it because it doesn't do this elaborate consequence and reward system that's really hard for me to navigate, and I don't like holding a grudge. I mean, that's what it feels like when I'm trying to enforce a consequence on my children. It feels like I'm holding a grudge. And in this system, you don't have to. You just focus on getting their smile, getting their attachment, getting them to smile and respond to you. And for a while, only asking them to do what they want to do, encouraging them. And then suddenly it's just children's natural thing. And I think this is what we've missed as parents and in our modern culture, is that there are not many adults. They don't have the reasoning capabilities. And I'll talk about what happens and what's the difference between rebellion and children becoming their own person in a minute, because that's something that's important to keep in mind when you're doing something like this, where you want your kids to trust you implicitly. And that was hard for me to ask for, because I know how short I fall in so many areas, that it was something that subconsciously I was telling my kids, you shouldn't trust me. I don't know what I'm doing. And that's not what they need. They need us to be strong, and they need us to know. They need to know that I am their parent and I will provide for them, and I am exactly what they need. And so this reading Hold On to Your Kids by Gordon Neufeld and watching some of his YouTube videos really gave me the confidence to do that. And my kids have really responded well from it. So I wanted to share that with you. And something else, and I'll try to find the video for you or the talk and link to that above this video. But something else that people will say, well, eventually they do need to separate from us. They do, but developmentally it's not appropriate until they're teenagers. And so that's something that's just like, oh, that makes so much sense to me. So when personally, I nurse my babies on demand, you can kind of follow the baby's lead, and it seems to work pretty well in most cases. But then once they become toddlers and they're kind of asserting their own authority, and they want stuff that they definitely cannot have, like in the grocery store, they want more than just nursing and to be held and rocked. They want all sorts of different things. That's when parents need to start taking charge. And then again, as they transition towards adulthood in their teenagerness, Gordon Neufeld says that the way you can tell that they are transitioning into their own person is because they're not blindly following trends. They're seeking out something that's different than their peers. They're seeking out something that's different than their parents. So that's how you can tell that teenagers are ready to be their own person, is if they are going towards something that's all on their own. They're not just following like willy-nilly whatever trend is popular at the time, but they're like super interested in this particular career path, or they're super interested in this particular car or this particular hobby. All of those are great things to encourage, and that's natural independence. But peer-oriented independence from the parents might be just a substitute where they really need to be getting influence from their parents, but instead they're choosing to get it from their peers. And that's where you see them just following kind of blindly whatever their friends are doing. And so I just wanted to talk about that. I encourage you, if you're having a hard time, if 3-2-1 magic isn't working, if any of the typical parenting books aren't working for you, like they definitely were not for me, I would encourage you to look at the attachment theory based stuff.